My dear friends, I hope you're ready to talk about the dark side of the Force, because today we have an Acolyte update, and this one is very exciting because I'm pretty convinced they may have just revealed the main Sith of the show. Leslye Headland recently said there is an Acolyte, a Sith apprentice, and a Sith Lord, one hiding in the shadows. She spoke about this structure the other day, but now according to insider Jeff Snyder, British actor David Harewood has been cast in the Acolyte for an undisclosed part. And as I say, my dear Mandalorians, there has been some conjecture his role is important and he is playing a villain. Let's dive into it. For one thing, I find it very interesting Lucasfilm kept this information so secretive. And this is coming from a podcast and not directly from them. It's almost as if they didn't want this out. They didn't want to disclose this in the first place. Jeff Snyder says the role David is playing is small, but this could just be alluding to the screen time. If he's the Sith, then it's possible he only appears at the end. And it should be noted, David is no stranger to science fiction and fantasy. He portrayed Martian Manhunter in Supergirl, and the alien prosthetics were very Star Warsy, so you might imagine him portraying, I don't know, let's say, a Bith, maybe Darth Tenebrous. And another reason is that he is known for his resonant, powerful and deep voice. He voiced the character Mr. Door in the video game Alan Wake 2, an ominous figure from the Control universe, one who spoke of parallel timelines and multiverses. Players of that game complimented and noted David's distinctive voice, and I have to wonder if it's an asset he's bringing to the Disney Plus show. The role Harewood is playing is small, but not insignificant. He might reveal himself as the Sith, but only at the end of the 8-episode season. It could be the teaser for season 2. And also keep in mind, while there are only a limited number of dark side users in the present day, 100 years before the Phantom Menace, he could be playing a Sith through a holocron or a flashback. There was a rumour nearly 2 years ago that Sith from the past like Bane, Nihilus, were going to play some kind of part, and this was assumed to be through Sith holocrons. Manny Jacinto's Quimia, who I'm very convinced is the Sith apprentice, is the one with the holocrons because he's a collector of goods, or should I say doubles as a collector of goods. So let's wait and see. Now here's the thing, we've been wrong about these kinds of things in the past. He might even be one of the Jedi. We're all still wondering, who is the dark side user holding the lightsaber in the trailer? Could it be David? I guess time will tell. We're now just a month and a half away from the 2-episode premiere, June 4th. Staying on the subject of the Acolyte, Total Film are giving us another new look. More stills of the show are coming on April 25th, and we have a new interview with Amanda Stenberg. This headline is going to generate a lot of discussion. New Star Wars show The Acolyte is, quote, a prequel to the prequels with a modern sensibility. Right from day one, criticism from the show that you see from fans has revolved around worries there is going to be an insertion of modern-day political commentary, and opinions on this matter vary widely among fans. While some embrace the changes and maybe see this as a franchise's evolution, others criticize them. Star Wars has always had a political tinge, but given a sci-fi twist. Stenberg said this, the prequels have this kind of prestige to them, this monarchical vibe. So one of my main questions was, are we going to maintain that sensibility? And yes, in many ways we do, while also incorporating elements that feel more contemporary and relatable. And Stenberg also says, they were really struck by how universal the story was. A major fan worry has been maybe taking too much from the real world, instead of translating it for Star Wars. But this could mean anything because George Lucas was influenced by politics at the time, Tony Gilroy the same for Andor, but I suppose it's all down to the execution, and if it feels Star Warsy enough, translating those tropes from the contemporary real world into the galaxy far, far away. And so moving on, my dear friends, a question we asked ourselves last year after Mando Season 3. Is Moff Gideon really dead? Is the one who burnt in the fire just a clone? Well, Giancarlo Esposito was asked this exact question, and whether or not we're going to see him in the Mandalorian Season 4 / the 2026 Mandalorian movie.
I would do as many as they want me to do.
In the Mandalorian Season 3 finale, we learnt that Moff Gideon's cloning experiments had seemingly revolved around creating duplicates of himself. Using the blood he took from Grogu, he was trying to make Force-sensitive doubles. Din Djarin discovered what Gideon was up to and destroyed the clones. And then later in the episode, Gideon met his fate in a fiery explosion, which seemingly brought his story to a close. But just like several Mandalorian fans, Giancarlo Esposito is not too convinced his character really died, and he thinks there is a chance he could be back, although he specifies he hasn't received any call just yet, so no plans. And once again he emphasizes his love of the character and of the Star Wars universe more generally. When asked about Season 4 he said this: "Jon Favreau hasn't tipped his hat to me, so many fans are like, you were a clone, right?" He says it could be. "I trust Jon knows what he's doing. I would love to keep dying and coming back, but I don't know. There are lots of ways to go, and I'm open to whatever they have in play." So, no word on this just yet. Production is set to begin relatively soon, in just a few months' time. The production start date is still June 17th. So now, my dear friends, a bit of fun. This is a question that's been going round, and I want to ask the Mandalorian community. I want to know what you think. So imagine you wake up to find you're the president of Lucasfilm. What is the first thing you would do? Are there directors you would hire? Would you canonize some of the expanded universe, which is a very popular answer to this? Would you call George Lucas? Would you rearrange some of the priorities? Would you do more animated shows? Well, before I tell you what I would do, let's look at some fan suggestions. This person says, a KOTOR project around Revan's storyline. I assume they mean an Old Republic movie or an Old Republic show. There is a really huge hunger for Old Republic content. I remember when the High Republic First Initiative was announced, back in I think 2021, and fans were just saying, why couldn't they just do the Old Republic? So there is certainly an appetite there, but it doesn't seem as though current Lucasfilm, aside from the KOTOR remake, is really invested in turning that into on-screen content. That being said, the Old Republic cinematics have been amazing. This is one of my favourite responses, and something you hear from fans all the time: restore the theatrical, unedited original trilogy. George Lucas brought out the special editions 27 years ago. There were lots of changes made, and in 2004 George Lucas explained why. He pointed out the original 3 films, as we saw them in cinemas, were just 25 to 30% of what he intended, what he wanted to see, and technology and availability of technology is one of the reasons he waited so long to make The Phantom Menace. He wanted the CGI technology to be there and to be ready for his vision. And had Disney not purchased Lucasfilm back in 2012, I'm strongly convinced he would have continued to make changes. He was an enthusiast of all of the latest methods of making film. Our next person says, abolish the line between canon and legends. Another sentiment I've seen time and time again. It's saying acknowledge that material and draw from it from time to time. Don't be afraid to cross over into that expanded universe territory. So for me, honestly, it'd be about using the expanded universe content, and also, as much as some of the Marvel Star Wars comics have been very impressive, I would want Dark Horse to make more Star Wars comics, in the style and tone of the ones they made in the 90s, some of the best Star Wars comics. I would also continue the animation initiative, and in terms of movies, I would love an heir to the Empire trilogy, and I would ask Guillermo del Toro to continue his cancelled Jabba the Hutt movie. You could set it between the events of A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back. This would appeal to die-hard fans, but also casuals, because Jabba the Hutt is one of the most iconic villains in all of cinema. But what would you guys do? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What would you do day 1? If you were head of Lucasfilm, what is your plan? And if you enjoyed this news update, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you, always.